All right, we're here with two certified foundation-style dog trainers. We got Nathaniel Bonilla from Positive Dog Training and Earl Dunn of Custom K9 Training. We're just demoing a little bit of obedience and some of the concepts of foundation-style dog training. Foundation-style dog training has its roots mainly in doing aggression rehab. But through aggression rehab, the techniques that we've used that were actually meant to be very fair, to the dog and not skip steps actually work good for any dog really. Some of the dogs we have here, Earl's walking Dawson, who was a rescue from Briarcliff, SPCA. He was had some aggression issues which made him unadoptable, and Nate has Mac. He's a bulldog with some aggression issues and unruliness issues. We got a golden retriever over here, Roxy, who's just mainly unruly, very unruly, but also a good girl. If you notice here, we got all different kinds of training collars on the dogs. We got everything we're going to demo here from, we got a Premier harness, a halty style. I think there's a pinch collar we'll demonstrate, even a remote trainer. Doesn't matter what, there's all different types of collars you could use, but what's important here is the right collar is used for the right purpose. And foundation style trainer has to be trained on how to properly use each one and to be able to use it humanely so that the dogs are never injured and never have any kind of stress from the collar that's being used. Everything has a proper time and place, and any type of correction ever on a dog has to be done the absolutely minimum amount for the dog to listen. But foundation style training actually starts very positive. Let's see, Nate, you want to go in the middle of the room with, right over there is fine, with Mac, and just do some stuff with treats. Your treats on you? I'll give you some treats. Everything, and Earl too, you both do it. Do some positive stuff. Before any type of responsibility is ever taught to a dog, dogs always have to show they understand everything with treats. So everything starts off, positive motivation, whether with treats, with play, or love as the reward. And this we call phase 1 training. There are 3 phases to the training. In phase 1 training, the dogs actually learn what the words mean, and they actually learn certain rules like to pay attention when they hear their name, and we also teach them certain sequences of commands, which teaches them when corrections would come, when praise comes, when warnings come. We really teach them open communication with us, so they understand what's going on as the training progresses. Now there's the next phase is phase 2 training, which we can use all different kinds of collars. Earl right here, he's working Dawson with a halty style collar, which the good thing about these collars is it's pretty easy, to teach the dogs control with this and rules, when they're on the leash. It's definitely a good tool, but we choose that depending on what kind of dog that we have. With every collar, there's pros and cons. Probably the biggest con about this collar is if you have the wrong dog that's very unruly, there's always a potential of cervical neck injuries with it. It's rare, but it's serious enough con that we have to be careful, the situations that we do use it with. But a very good collar that we do use. Nathaniel's using a Premier harness on Mac over there. These are really good with dogs that may have had previous injuries, to their neck. It's a very, very safe collar to use on the dog. The cons of it, you're kind of limited to what you can do, but it's good for actual walking, and we're able to teach them pretty much everything we need to teach them in phase 1 training with these collars. Earl is putting a pinch collar on Roxy over here. Pinch collars, the biggest con is they look very scary, so people give you the stinky eye when you have it on a dog. And the other thing about it is if it's not used properly, it can be abusive. The pros about the pinch collars is that if it's used gently, it's very, very safe on the dog's neck, even safer than a buckle collar, because the correction gets distributed evenly around the dog's neck. It should never ever be used with more than a gentle flick on with the wrist. But a lot of benefits to using this collar. Other collars that we do use, did I put a good dog collar over there, Earl? I think I put it on the table over there. We do use good dog collars. Two, which are very similar to the pinch collar. You can bring that up to the camera, Earl. Which is like a pinch collar, but it's it's kind of plastic. Pros about it, looks a lot nicer than a pinch collar. And for very sensitive dogs, it works well. There's not a lot of cons really about it. It's some dogs just don't care about it that much, but everything's just used to gently, show the dog direction, when you're teaching them, when you're teaching them things. Now, in phase 2 training, there's all kinds of things, we teach the dog, which is all the main rules of, of staying and learning the commands and what they're supposed to do. Phase 3 training, which is really where we teach them to do things around distractions and to do things off leash. Earl's going to demonstrate with Roxy. This is considered phase 3 training, where the dog's going to listen without a leash, and also because she has to, because we taught her the rules that she has to listen. What Roxy has on is a remote training collar, which there's a lot of cons about remote training collars that people have to be aware of. The main one is that if the wrong person uses one of these that's not qualified, it could be very abusive to the dog, mainly because you could confuse the heck out of the dog, you could scare them, and it can be painful if someone's using them on high powers. It's a tool, it's an advanced tool a foundation style trainer would use only after bringing their dog to a certain level of training, where they can then use these on levels that are so low you could barely detect it on your fingertips. And what we do is we position them in a certain place on the dog's neck so it slightly twitches the muscle. So what we're looking for is the effect that it'll slightly annoy the dog, not hurt the dog. And it's just a reminder of the things they learned, like on the things like the gentle leader or the pinch collar or anything like that. So Earl's walking her around on the remote collar, and there's certain rules that he teaches her. He's doing a heel, and we teach the dogs to respond to our nonverbal commands here. For instance, if Roxy goes too fast, Earl will take a slow step, if you watch, and she'll slow down with him. If she goes too slow, he'll take a fast step to get her to speed up with him. If she was to go too wide to the left, he teaches her that if he steps to the right, she has to come closer to him. And if she was to cross behind his back, he would step to the left to get her to shift over that way. All right, so we do teach the dogs nonverbal communication. And we want the dogs to maintain this wag and tail. It's all about communication, really. Nate, you want to walk around with Dawson, do a little crisscross? All right. Phase 3 also involves the dogs listening with distractions. So, yeah, Nate will release Dawson there, and he's going to walk around. He's going to have him on the halty style. So even off the leash, we want to make sure, she is going to listen around distractions. So we're doing a little crisscross with them. So Roxy's demonstrating phase 3 style training, while Dawson is technically doing phase 2 style training because it's all on leash. Now, approaching our 10-minute limit here, really important things to know if you're choosing a trainer. Foundation style dog trainers are not allowed to raise their voice at dogs. They're not allowed to use any kind of correction that's going to scare the dog or make the dog cry. If you see on our walls, or any foundation style dog trainer, we always follow certain things. We got to make sure we have knowledge of the dog. We have to have respect for the dog. Respect is part of the training. And of course, patience. The quickest way is hardly ever the best way to train, to train a dog.